Welcome to day one of our July challenge, which is reading the book of Proverbs each day of July. Since there are 31 chapters and there are 31 days in July, we will share from each chapter a verse or two that God gave us revelation on. So today is July the 1st, and the chapter 1 of Proverbs, I want to read from verses 2 through 5 and 7. To know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, judgment, and equity, to give prudence to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and increase learning, and a man of understanding will attain wise counsel. And then verse 7 is, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Verse 4, it says, to give prudence to the simple, knowledge and discretion to the youth. When we look at the word prudence in this context, it translates to resourcefulness, shrewdness, or sharp wits. It is the practical intelligence to anticipate the long-term consequences of actions and avoid dangerous traps. So it's us having self-control and discipline. It's us being prudent about a situation, exercising control, thinking about starting with the end in mind. So when we start with the end in mind, we're mindful of what actions we do right now to produce the expected end result that we want. So starting out today, we want to be prudent. We want to have self-control. We want to be careful about our actions. If you've heard anything that I've said before on videos, intentional about your habits. So when you're mindful of your habits, knowing that your habits produce outcomes, your habits say who you are and what it is that you do on a regular basis. If your habits can identify you, then we're more mindful, we're prudent about our habits. And then it also talks about simple. Being simple is not a negative thing. It's just really saying that you're inexperienced, or you're impressionable, you're open-minded. So we want to be open-minded as we go through the book of Proverbs. We want to be open-minded so that we are able to learn more, so that we can gain wisdom. We want to have a growth mindset. And then we also want to look at knowledge and discretion. Discretion is the ability to carefully separate right from wrong. You know how some people look at discerning, and discerning a spirit is almost like a psychic, where you can predict the future. You're discerning something about somebody. Discerning is just having a discerning mindset, to where you are aware of things that may not be good for you. You're able to decipher between right and wrong. So that's what this verse is telling us to do, that we're going to gain wisdom and knowledge and information that's going to help us to be discerning and to know, should we go left or should we go right. It's going to put us in alignment with what God's purpose is for us and what his will and his way is, so that we can be in alignment with him. And then as we drop down to verse 7, which is a very familiar one for a lot of people, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. We are not going to be foolish in this season. Moving forward, we're not going to be foolish. We want to gain all that God has for us. We want to know and be able to walk in his will and his way, because we were created in his image. So the fear of the Lord, the fear is not that I'm afraid, I'm scared of him, but it means that I honor him, I reverence him. How do we reverence God? In our lifestyle, how we walk, how we talk, how we live, how we treat people, even how we treat ourselves. One of the things that I am, one of my confessions daily is to say that I will be a good steward of my gifts, my time, and my resources, because I haven't always been that. So sometimes that being a steward of my time might be having to tell somebody no, especially if it interferes in what God has in store for me or has purpose for me to do at that moment. So being a good steward of my gifts, my time, and my resources, my finances. That's wisdom, y'all. That's walking out wisdom. That's having a discerning spirit, a discerning mindset to know that I probably shouldn't do this activity that day. I probably shouldn't go buy that thing or spend money on that. You know what? This is the assignment that God has called me to, or God didn't call me to this assignment, so I shouldn't use my talents in this area. So that's the discerning spirit that we want to have. We want to be able to gain the information and walk in wisdom, walk according to God's will and his way. So I hope that resonates with somebody, to be mindful that wisdom doesn't come because of age or because of experience, but wisdom is knowledge or information put into action. Wisdom is us actually walking out what we know and what God has told us to do, being obedient to the word. I pray that you will join us on this July challenge, this Proverbs 31-day challenge. Hope to see you soon.